I'm recording, so.
I'm Oisin, and this is my animation presentation. First look at the history of animation. Some of the first forms of animation were just drawings or paintings, but the way they were made gave the impression of movement. This was seen in cave paintings and some Egyptian murals. They convey the animation sometimes through a series of images, or the images themselves drawn would imply motion, like people having multiple legs. This is the Egyptian mural of a wrestling match. It's just the different stages. And this is a look at some of the early devices used for animation, starting from 1650 at the Magic Lantern. Trope. I'm not going to try to pronounce this. Flip book. We'll look at, and the Magic Lantern was an early way of projecting an animation. The flip book was just images drawn in a book, and when flicked, you'd see the image move, and then the practicing scope was another type of projection. And I'll look more in detail at the Tuma trope. Tuma trope is a disc or just a sheet that would contain two images, one on either side. And when spun, it would look like the images would combine. See an example here of the bird on one side, cage on the other, and it appears like birds in the cage and they're not. And this is the Phenac gas telescope. It was also a disc. This would have images based all around it, different images, but also slots, but spaced differently in the images. And it'd be spun in front of a mirror, and you'd look through the slots, and it would seem like animation was occurring. As you can see here, this would be the front of it, all the different stages of it spinning around. But through the slot, looking at the mirror, you just see one image at a time, but changing. And now going on to early animation in film. Phantasmagory by Neil Cole is considered one of the first animated films made entirely of animated images, and also one of the first films to use hand-drawn animation. See the image there. And then this is just a brief look through some of the early films. In 1940, we have Gertie the Dinosaur by Winsor McCabe. This is considered one of the first animation features to have a distinguishable character because it brought to life a dinosaur, which wouldn't be something you'd seen beforehand. And then Felix the Cat in 1919 would be considered one of the first famous animated characters. And then the debut of Thomas Cat in 1920 by John Gray, one of the first color animations. And then Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937, one of the first feature-length animated films. Looking at stop motion. Stop motion involves moving images in sequence and so that they appear to move the inanimate objects, but sometimes humans move involved as well. It's done by moving the image, the objects or props a bit, and then taking a photo and putting all those photos together to make an animation. The objects they use would sometimes be models or dolls, which would have joints in them for easy manipulation, but also other than dolls and models, humans, and also objects that be associated with being inanimate, like furniture, would also be used to to bring them to life. And practitioner stop motion would be Arden Studios to create Wallace and Gromit films. And this is just this video is just a brief look at their setup. We'll come back to that.
Maybe you could tell us what we would have seen.
I think it's up there, but it's like the setup, showing the models, and yeah, you can see here they're making up the set. Can't remember the little props here used and shaped.
I think it's a great fit, you know.
Once looked at rotoscoping. Rotoscoping would involve tracing over footage frame by frame for live action or animation films. Be used to place animations into live films, live action films, things like lightsabers in Star Wars. And used to animate, it can be used to turn real life into an animation, and in visual effects rotoscoping is also used to create a matte or mask over something so that it can be moved and put into a different image. And this usually involves motion tracking. And this is a video talking about how they made Scanner Darkly. Some of the production involved in that.
We do the casting, shoot the actual film, and then we lock it, just like we would a normal live action feature. And then we have to bring it into the animation process. And then there's a lengthy post-production process. In this case, it was 18 months, which originally we thought it would be about 9 months. So it's twice as long as we thought it would take.
I'm definitely shooting and composing with a view to what the animators are going to do to that, and also I'm giving them the colors that they use because they basically sample those colors.
I don't feel there are any limitations really to what we can do in post. And we've created a whole another world with this all
The
together.
general style, I guess, gets mandated from the inventor himself. He wants kind of a painterly version of reality.
Each shot has a certain amount of detail, but the close-ups have, of course, are the most detail where you can really go in the line.
So, like I was saying, that it can be used to add things like lightsabers. It can also be just used as a visual style, and they have to work closely with cinematographer and the actual filming to get the animation right later, and that would be a lengthy process. So the practitioner we'll be looking at would be Richard, I think, later, and Bob Sebastian. Bob Sebastian would be the person who did the animation for him, and he actually created computer software for computer-assisted rotoscoping, and he worked on Linklater's Waking Life and Scanner Darkly. And Scanner Darkly is one of the first feature films to use rotoscoping to create the entire film, and the clips is trailer. And that's it.
Cool. Thank you very much.